Aquarius. What you release now makes life lighter. There is something pressing against your chest right now, and you already know what it is. You have been carrying it for so long that it almost feels like part of who you are. But it is not. What you release in this season does not weaken you. It does not take something away from you. It makes everything around you lighter, clearer, and far more manageable than you have allowed yourself to believe. This is not about losing something. This is about finally putting down what was never yours to hold in the first place. The universe has been nudging you, gently at first, and now with more urgency, because the window of transformation sitting in front of you is not going to stay open forever. You are not here by accident. You clicked on this video because some part of you already senses the shift. Some part of you already knows that what comes next depends entirely on what you are willing to let go of right now. And here is the part most people miss. Releasing is not a sign of giving up. It is the single most powerful act of self-trust you can perform. When you stop gripping so tightly to what was, you finally free your hands to receive what is meant for you. So stay with me through every single section of this message, because each one builds on the last. And by the end, you will see your path with a clarity that might genuinely surprise you. The energy around your sign right now is unlike anything we have seen in a very long time. Let me show you exactly what that means. Tip 1. The weight you have been carrying was never supposed to be permanent. Most of the heaviness you feel right now did not start yesterday. It did not even start last month. For many of you, the burdens you are dragging through your daily life have roots that stretch back years, sometimes even decades. And the strange thing is, you have become so accustomed to that weight that you barely notice it anymore. It has become your normal. You wake up with it, you move through your day with it, you go to sleep under it. And somewhere along the way, you convinced yourself that this is just how life feels. But I need you to hear something very clearly right now. That is not true. The heaviness you carry is not a permanent condition. It is a pattern. And patterns, no matter how deeply ingrained, can be broken. Think about the last time you cleaned out a closet or a drawer that had been stuffed full for too long. You probably put it off for weeks, maybe months. The idea of sorting through everything felt overwhelming. But once you finally sat down and started pulling things out, something shifted. You found items you had forgotten about. You found things that no longer fit, things that no longer served any purpose, things that were just taking up space. And when you finally cleared it all out, there was this feeling of relief that went far beyond a tidy drawer. You felt lighter inside. That is exactly what is happening in your life on a much deeper level right now. The universe is asking you to open the drawers of your emotional life, your mental habits, your old stories, and start sorting through them with honest eyes. Not harsh eyes, not judgmental eyes, just honest ones. Some of what you find in there served you beautifully at one point. There were beliefs that protected you when you needed protection. There were habits that helped you survive difficult seasons. There were emotional walls that kept you safe when the world felt too dangerous to face openly. But the season has changed. You are no longer in survival mode. Even if your nervous system has not caught up to that truth yet. And continuing to carry survival tools into a season that is calling for expansion, that is what creates the heaviness. That is what makes every step feel harder than it needs to be. So the very first thing the universe wants you to understand is this. You are allowed to put it down. You are allowed to release the worry that has been sitting in your stomach for years. You are allowed to stop replaying that old conversation in your mind. You are allowed to forgive yourself for the choices you made when you did not know better. Releasing does not mean you are pretending those things did not happen. It means you are choosing, consciously and deliberately, to stop letting them define your present moment. And when you do that, even in the smallest way, you will feel something shift immediately. It might be subtle at first. A slightly deeper breath. A moment of unexpected peace in the middle of an ordinary afternoon. A brief flash of hope that feels different from wishful thinking. These are the signs that the release is working. Pay attention to them. Honor them. Because what comes next is going to build on that foundation in ways that will genuinely take your breath away. Tip 2. Your mind has been running a program that no longer matches your reality. Here is something most people never stop to consider. The thoughts running through your head on a daily basis are not random. They are not even entirely your own. Many of them are inherited programs. They came from the people who raised you, the environments you grew up in, the experiences that shaped your earliest understanding of how the world works. And for much of your life, those programs served a purpose. They helped you navigate situations, avoid danger, make decisions quickly. But here is the problem. You have grown. Your life has changed. Your circumstances have shifted. And yet many of those old programs are still running in the background, influencing your choices, shaping your reactions, and filtering how you see everything around you. It is like running outdated software on a brand new device. The device is capable of incredible things, but the old software keeps crashing, keeps freezing, keeps giving you error messages that do not make sense anymore. You have probably noticed this in subtle ways. Maybe you catch yourself reacting to a situation with an intensity that does not match what is actually happening. Someone makes an innocent comment and suddenly you are flooded with emotion that seems to come from nowhere. Or you find yourself avoiding opportunities not because they are truly risky, but because some old voice in the back of your mind whispers that you are not ready, not good enough, not the kind of person who gets to have that. Those are the old programs talking. And the universe is telling you right now with absolute clarity that it is time to update the software. This does not mean you have to sit down and analyze every single thought you have ever had. It does not mean you need to spend years in deep reflection before you can move forward. It simply means becoming aware. Start noticing when a thought feels heavy, outdated, or disconnected from who you actually are right now. When you catch yourself thinking something like, "I always fail at this," or "good things do not last for people like me," or "I am too old to change," pause for just a moment. Ask yourself one simple question. Is that actually true right now, in this moment, for the person I have become? 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. That thought belongs to a version of you that no longer exists. It belongs to a younger you, a more frightened you, a version of you that had not yet walked through the fire and come out the other side. And you have come out the other side. You are still here. You are still standing. You are still seeking, still growing, still showing up. That alone is proof that those old programs are wrong about you. The process of releasing these mental patterns does not have to be dramatic. You do not have to fight them. You do not have to push them away with force. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply notice the old thought, acknowledge it, and gently say, "That is not mine anymore." Over time, that simple practice creates space. And in that space, new thoughts begin to grow. Thoughts that match your current reality. Thoughts that reflect your actual strength, your real wisdom, your genuine capacity for joy. And those new thoughts, they change everything. If what you're hearing feels accurate, imagine what could happen if you applied this energy intentionally for 21 consecutive days. That's exactly what the 21-day program in the pinned comment is built for. Daily guidance, focused direction, and real momentum. If you're tired of staying in the same cycle, this is your structure. Tip 3. The relationships that drain you are showing you where your boundaries need strengthening. This next piece is going to land deeply for many of you because it touches something you have probably been avoiding for a while. There are relationships in your life right now that are costing you more energy than they give. And you know exactly which ones I am talking about. You feel it in your body when their name appears on your phone. You feel it in the subtle dread that rises before certain conversations. You feel it in the exhaustion that follows interactions that should have been simple, but somehow left you feeling completely emptied out. Now, I am not telling you to cut everyone off. That is not what this message is about. But I am telling you that the universe is shining a very bright light on the places where your energy is leaking, and many of those leaks are happening through relationships where the boundaries have either been crossed so many times that they no longer exist, or where they were never established in the first place. Boundaries are not walls. I want to be very clear about that because so many people confuse the two. A wall says nobody gets in. A boundary says you are welcome here. But there are certain things I will not accept. A wall isolates you. A boundary protects you while still allowing genuine connection. And right now, your sign is being called to examine where those boundaries need reinforcing. Maybe it is the family member who always seems to make your achievements feel small. Maybe it is the friend who only reaches out when they need something. Maybe it is the person who takes your kindness as an invitation to ask for more and more without ever giving back. These patterns do not make those people evil, but they do reveal places where you have been giving permission for your energy to be drained, often without even realizing it. The release that the universe is asking for here is not necessarily about releasing the people themselves. Sometimes it is. Sometimes a relationship has run its course and the healthiest thing you can do is let it go with love and move on. But more often, the release is about letting go of the role you have been playing in those dynamics. Releasing the need to be the one who always fixes things. Releasing the belief that setting a boundary will make you a bad person. Releasing the fear that if you stop giving endlessly, there will be nothing left worth loving about you. That fear right there is the real weight, and it is a lie. Your value does not come from what you give to others. It comes from who you are. And who you are is someone who deserves relationships that feel like mutual nourishment, not like a one-sided donation. As you begin to strengthen your boundaries, something remarkable happens. The people who truly belong in your life will respect those boundaries and adjust. They will actually appreciate your honesty because it allows the relationship to become more authentic. And the people who cannot handle your boundaries, well, their reaction tells you everything you need to know about where you stood in their priorities. That information, as uncomfortable as it might be, is a gift. Because it frees you from pouring energy into places where it was never going to be valued. And that freed up energy, it is about to become the fuel for something extraordinary, which brings us to the next point. Tip 4. Your body has been storing emotions that your mind refused to process. There is a connection between what you carry emotionally and what you feel physically that is far more powerful than most people realize. And for those born under this sign, that connection tends to be especially strong. You are someone who processes the world deeply. You feel things intensely even when you do not show it on the surface. And when emotions do not get fully processed, when they get pushed aside because life was too busy or too demanding or too overwhelming to deal with them, they do not just disappear. They settle into your body. They become tension in your shoulders. They become tightness in your jaw. They become that knot in your stomach that never quite goes away. They become the fatigue that sleep does not seem to fix. Your body has been trying to tell you something for a while now. Maybe you have noticed it as unexplained aches that come and go without any clear cause. Maybe it is a restlessness that makes it hard to sit still. A constant low-level agitation that hums beneath the surface of even your calmest moments. Maybe it is a heaviness in your chest that you have attributed to stress, but that actually runs much deeper than any current situation would explain. These are not random physical symptoms. They are messages. Your body is holding what your mind was not ready to face, and it has been holding it patiently, waiting for the moment when you would finally be strong enough to deal with it. That moment is now. The release the universe is asking for in this area does not require anything dramatic. You do not need to relive every painful memory or dissect every difficult experience you have ever been through. What it does require is presence. It requires you to start paying attention to your body in a way you may have been avoiding. When you notice tension somewhere, instead of immediately trying to push through it or ignore it, pause. Breathe into that space. Ask yourself what emotion might be stored there. You might be surprised by what comes up. Sometimes it is grief you never fully allowed yourself to feel. Sometimes it is anger you told yourself you had no right to express. Sometimes it is a deep, quiet sadness about something you lost a long time ago that you never gave yourself permission to mourn. Whatever it is ready to move. And when you let it move, when you allow yourself to feel it fully without judgment, something remarkable happens. The physical symptom begins to soften. The tension releases. The heaviness lifts. Not all at once necessarily, but noticeably. Because that emotion was never meant to stay. It was meant to be experienced, honored, and then released. Just like weather passes through the sky, emotions are meant to pass through you. They only become heavy when you try to hold them in place. So give yourself permission to feel without fixing. Let the tears come if they want to come. Let the anger surface if it needs to surface. Let the grief wash through you like a wave. You will not drown. Promise you that. You will not be overwhelmed. You will simply feel lighter on the other side. And that lightness is going to open doors in your life that have been stuck shut for longer than you realize, which is exactly what the next section is about. Tip 5. The opportunities you have been waiting for require you to stop waiting. This is going to sound paradoxical at first, but stay with me because it is one of the most important truths your sign needs to hear right now. You have been waiting for the right moment. You have been waiting for clarity. You have been waiting for certainty. You have been waiting for a sign from the universe that it is finally safe to move forward. And here is your sign. Stop waiting. The very act of waiting has become the obstacle. Not because patience is wrong, but because somewhere along the way, your patience transformed into something else. It became hesitation. It became avoidance dressed up as wisdom. It became a comfortable hiding place where you could tell yourself you were being careful, when the truth was you were being afraid. And fear disguised as caution is one of the most dangerous things you can carry, because it looks so reasonable, sounds so logical. It wraps itself in such convincing arguments that you almost cannot tell it apart from genuine discernment. But there is a difference, and it is an important one. Genuine discernment says not yet, and it comes with a sense of peace. Fear says not ever, and it comes with a tightening in your chest. Genuine discernment opens possibilities and suggests alternative timing. Fear closes doors and tells you the risk is not worth it. Take a moment right now and think about the thing you have been putting off. You know what it is. It might be a conversation you need to have. It might be a project you have been dreaming about. It might be a change in your daily routine that you know would transform your health, your energy, your outlook. It might be something as simple as asking for help, or something as significant as changing the entire direction of your life. Whatever it is, check in with yourself honestly. Is the delay coming from genuine wisdom, a real sense that the timing is not right? Or is it coming from fear wearing a mask? If the answer is fear, then the universe is telling you right now that the release you need most in this area is the release of the need for perfect conditions. Perfect conditions do not exist. They never have. Every person who has ever accomplished anything meaningful did so in the middle of imperfect circumstances. They did so with incomplete information. They did so while still feeling afraid. The difference was that they moved anyway. They took one small step, then another, and somewhere along the way, the momentum they built through action replaced the paralysis they felt while waiting. That is what is available to you right now. Not a giant leap, not a reckless charge into the unknown. Just one small, honest, courageous step in the direction of the life you actually want. And when you take that step, you will discover something that changes everything. The universe does not reward those who wait for perfect conditions. The universe rewards those who move with what they have where they are right now. And the next section is going to show you exactly how to start building that momentum in a way that feels sustainable and real. Tip 6. Forgiveness is not about the other person, and it never was. I know this word can be triggering for some of you. Forgiveness carries a lot of weight, and for good reason. When someone has genuinely hurt you, when someone has betrayed your trust or dismissed your feelings or caused real damage in your life, the very idea of forgiveness can feel like you are being asked to excuse what they did. But that is not what forgiveness actually is. Not even close. Forgiveness is not a pardon. It is not saying what happened was acceptable. It is not pretending the pain did not exist. It is not opening the door and inviting that person back into your life. Forgiveness is the moment you decide that what happened in the past no longer gets to control how you feel in the present. It is the moment you take your power back. And right now, the energy around your sign is making this kind of release not just possible but almost necessary. Because there is old resentment sitting in your system that is taking up space meant for something beautiful. Every time you replay that old wound, every time you rehearse that conversation you wish had gone differently, every time you imagine what you should have said or done, you are giving your energy to the past. You are pouring your present moment vitality into something that is already over. And the person who hurt you, they are not feeling any of that. They are going about their life completely unaffected by the energy you are spending on reliving what they did. The only person being impacted is you. That is the cruel irony of unforgiveness. It punishes the person holding it far more than the person it is directed at. It is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to get sick. So when the universe asks you to forgive right now, it is not asking you to do something for them. It is asking you to do something for yourself. It is asking you to release the grip that old pain has on your daily experience. It is asking you to free up the emotional energy that has been locked in resentment so that you can redirect it toward building the life you actually deserve. And here is the part that might surprise you. The person you most need to forgive might be yourself. Many of you are carrying guilt about choices you made in the past. Decisions that, in hindsight, you wish you had made differently. Moments where you were not your best self. Times when you let fear lead instead of love. The weight of self-blame can be even heavier than the weight of blaming someone else, because you cannot escape yourself. You carry that judgment everywhere you go. But listen to me carefully. You made the best decisions you could with the information and emotional capacity you had at the time. Period. If you had known better, you would have done better. The fact that you now see those situations differently is not proof that you failed. It is proof that you have grown. And growth deserves celebration, not punishment. So begin the process of releasing that self-judgment. It does not have to happen all at once. Forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness, is often a journey rather than a single moment. But every step you take along that journey makes your life measurably lighter. And the lightness you gain here is going to be essential for what the universe has planned for you next. Tip 7. Your intuition has been trying to guide you, and it is time to listen. If there is one thing that sets your sign apart from almost every other, it is the depth and accuracy of your inner knowing. You have an intuition that borders on remarkable, a quiet inner voice that sees patterns others miss, that senses shifts before they happen, that knows the truth of a situation long before the evidence catches up. And yet, you have not been listening to it. Not fully, at least. Somewhere along the way, you started second-guessing yourself. Maybe it was because you followed your gut once and things did not work out the way you expected. Maybe it was because someone you trusted told you that your instincts were wrong, that you were being irrational or emotional or unrealistic. Maybe it was simply because the world has conditioned you to value logic over feeling, evidence over intuition, proof over knowing. Whatever the reason, you have been dimming one of your greatest gifts. And the universe is asking you to stop doing that right now. The release here is about letting go of the belief that your intuition is not trustworthy. It is about releasing the habit of outsourcing your knowing to other people. It is about stopping the pattern of asking everyone else what they think before you check in with what you feel. Your gut has been sending you signals. Some of you have been feeling a pull towards something that does not make logical sense. A desire to explore a new direction. A sudden interest in something you have never considered before. A quiet but persistent feeling that there is something more waiting for you just beyond the edge of your current comfort zone. Those feelings are not random. They are guidance. Your deeper self, the part of you that is connected to something much larger than your everyday mind can comprehend, is trying to show you the path. And the path it is showing you right now is one of release and renewal. But you have to trust it. You have to be willing to follow a feeling even when you cannot explain it to someone else. You have to be okay with saying, "I do not know why, but I know this is right." That takes courage. Real courage. Not the loud, dramatic kind. The quiet, steady kind. The kind that says, "I trust myself enough to take this step, even if I cannot see where the staircase leads." Start small if you need to. Pay attention to the subtle cues your body gives you throughout the day. Notice when something feels like a yes in your chest and when something feels like a no. Notice when your energy lifts around certain people and activities and when it drops. These are not coincidences. They are your internal navigation system at work. And the more you listen to it, the stronger and clearer it becomes. The next section is going to reveal something about your finances and material life that connects directly to this inner guidance. So make sure you stay with me. Tip 8. Your relationship with money and material security is ready for a fundamental shift. Money is one of those topics that carries enormous emotional weight, and for your sign especially, the relationship with financial security has always been more complicated than it appears on the surface. You are not someone who is motivated purely by wealth. Your values run deeper than that. But the truth is, financial stress has a way of occupying mental and emotional space that could be used for so much more. And right now, the universe is asking you to examine your beliefs about money, abundance, and what you actually need to feel secure. Many of you are carrying beliefs about money that you inherited from the people who raised you. Maybe you were taught that money is hard to come by. Maybe you absorbed the message that wanting financial abundance makes you greedy or shallow. Maybe you learned that you have to sacrifice your well-being, your time, your health, or your joy in order to earn enough to survive. These beliefs, whether spoken aloud or absorbed silently through observation, have shaped your financial reality in ways you may not even be aware of. And just like the mental programs we talked about earlier, these money beliefs are often outdated. They belong to a different time, a different set of circumstances, a different version of you. The release that is being called for here is not about suddenly becoming reckless with money. It is not about spending without thought or ignoring practical responsibilities. It is about releasing the fear and scarcity mindset that has been quietly governing your financial decisions for years. When you operate from fear, you make choices based on what you might lose rather than what you could gain. You hold on too tightly to what you have because you are terrified there will not be more. You say no to investments in yourself, whether that is education, health, personal growth, or simple joy, because the voice of scarcity whispers that you cannot afford it. But here is what that voice never tells you. You cannot afford not to. When you invest in your own growth, when you spend money on things that genuinely nourish your life, you are sending a powerful signal to the universe. You are saying, I trust that more is coming. I trust that I am supported. I trust that abundance is my natural state, not something I have to fight for every single day. And that shift in belief, that release of the scarcity story, opens channels of flow that were previously blocked. Opportunities begin to appear. Ideas for generating income seem to come from nowhere. Resources show up at exactly the right moment. Not because of magic, but because you are finally vibrating at a frequency that matches abundance rather than lack. Pay attention over the coming weeks to any impulses you feel around your finances. Your intuition, the same inner guidance we just discussed, is going to start pointing you towards specific changes. Maybe it is a different approach to how you budget. Maybe it is an investment in a skill that could open new doors. Maybe it is simply the willingness to spend a little on something that brings you genuine happiness without the guilt that usually follows. Trust those impulses. They are part of the release, and they are leading you somewhere much better than where the fear was keeping you. Some people watch, others transform. If you want to be in the second group, the 21-day guide in the pinned comment gives you a clear step-by-step process aligned with your sign. This isn't about waiting, it's about moving. Tip 9, the version of yourself you keep trying to return to no longer exists, and that is a good thing. There is a very human tendency to romanticize the past, and your sign is not immune to it. Many of you have been spending energy trying to get back to a previous version of yourself, the version that had more energy. It is like trying to drive a car while constantly looking in the rearview mirror. You miss what is right in front of you. You miss the turns. You miss the opportunities. You miss the beauty of the present landscape because you are too busy comparing it to the scenery you already passed. So release the comparison. Release the idea that your best days are behind you. Release the myth that happiness is something you used to have rather than something you are actively creating right now. The person you are becoming is someone the old you could not even have imagined. They are wiser. They are more resilient. They are more compassionate, more grounded, more capable of deep and genuine joy. You just cannot see it yet because you are in the middle of the transformation. And transformations, by their very nature, are uncomfortable while they are happening. But the discomfort is not a sign that something is going wrong. It is a sign that something is going very, very right. Hold on to that truth as we move into the next section, because what I am about to share with you is going to redefine how you think about your daily habits and routines. Tip 10. Small daily releases create massive long-term transformation. Everything we have talked about so far might feel big. Releasing old beliefs, letting go of resentment, shifting your relationship with money, trusting your intuition, putting down emotional weight you have been carrying for years. It is a lot. And if you are feeling even slightly overwhelmed right now, that is completely understandable. But here is the part one want you to carry with you long after this message ends. You do not have to do all of this at once. In fact, trying to release everything in one dramatic moment is usually not sustainable. Real, lasting transformation happens in the small daily choices. It happens in the 5 minutes you spend each morning sitting quietly before the rush of the day begins. It happens in the moment you catch an old thought pattern and gently redirect it instead of letting it spiral. It happens in the conversation where you hold a boundary for the first time, even though your voice shakes. It happens in the evening when you choose to put down your phone and actually feel whatever emotion is present instead of numbing it with distraction. These tiny moments of release might seem insignificant in isolation, but they compound. Oh, how they compound. One small release today becomes 2 tomorrow. A week of small releases creates a noticeable shift in your energy. A month of consistent, gentle letting go transforms the entire landscape of your inner life. And by the time you look back 6 months from now, you will barely recognize the person you used to be. Not because you became someone different, but because you finally became who you always were underneath all that weight. This is the secret that so many people miss. They wait for the big breakthrough. They wait for the dramatic moment of healing. They wait for the lightning bolt of clarity that will change everything in an instant. And while they are waiting, they miss the thousands of tiny moments that were offering them exactly the transformation they were seeking. Do not make that mistake. Start today. Start with one thing. One old belief you are willing to question. One boundary you are willing to set. One emotion you are willing to feel instead of suppress. One moment of self-compassion in a day that might otherwise be filled with self-criticism. That is all it takes. One moment of intentional release, repeated with patience and consistency, day after day after day. The weight does not lift all at once. It lifts gradually, so gradually that some days you might not even notice it is happening. But then one morning you will wake up and realize that the heaviness you carried for so long has become something else entirely. It has become lightness. It has become space. It has become freedom. And in that freedom, you will find everything you have been looking for. The joy you thought you lost. The peace you assumed was not meant for you. The sense of purpose that felt just out of reach for so long. It was all there, waiting underneath the weight. All you had to do was put it down. Tip 11. The universe is not punishing you, and it never was. I want to close the main body of this message with something that I feel very strongly your sign needs to hear right now. Some of you have been walking through difficult seasons and quietly wondering if you did something to deserve it. You have been looking at the challenges, the losses, the disappointments, and somewhere in the back of your mind, a small voice has been whispering that maybe this is punishment. Maybe you are paying for some mistake you made. Maybe the universe is teaching you a lesson by making things hard. I need you to release that belief right now because it is one of the heaviest things you are carrying, and it is absolutely fundamentally untrue. The universe does not operate on a punishment and reward system. Life is not a courtroom where your mistakes are weighed and your suffering is assigned accordingly. Difficult seasons are not sentences. They are invitations. They are invitations to grow, to deepen, to discover parts of yourself that comfort and ease would never have revealed. Think about the strongest, wisest, most compassionate people you have ever known. Without exception, they have walked through fire. They have faced loss, disappointment, betrayal, uncertainty. And it was precisely those experiences that carved the depth into their character. Not because they deserved to suffer, but because suffering, when it is met with courage and self-compassion, has a way of polishing the soul into something luminous. You are being polished right now. The difficulties you have faced, and the ones you may still be navigating, are not evidence that the universe has forgotten you. They are evidence that the universe sees enormous potential in you and is preparing you for something that requires the full depth of who you are. And the release, the beautiful, liberating release that comes with truly understanding this, is the release of the victim story. Not that your pain was not real. It was. Not that you were not hurt. You were. But the story that says, life is happening to me, gets to transform into life is happening for me. That single shift in perspective changes everything. It does not erase the pain, but it gives the pain meaning. And meaning is the antidote to suffering. When you can look at your difficult experiences and say, I do not yet understand why, but I trust that this is leading somewhere, you reclaim your power. You step out of helplessness and into partnership with the very forces that are shaping your life. And from that place of partnership, from that place of trust, the releasing becomes almost effortless. Because you are no longer fighting against what is. You are flowing with it. And the current is carrying you exactly where you need to go. I want you to take a deep breath right now. A real one. Not the shallow kind you have been surviving on, but a full, expansive breath that fills every corner of your lungs. Hold it for just a moment. And then let it go. Feel the release in your body. Feel the way your shoulders drop just slightly. Feel the way your jaw unclenches. That breath, that single conscious breath, is a microcosm of everything we have talked about today. You took something in, you held it, and then you let it go. And in the letting go, there was relief. That is what your entire life is asking for right now. Not dramatic upheaval, not a complete reinvention, just the willingness to keep letting go moment by moment, day by day, breath by breath. The heaviness you have been carrying has already started to shift just by listening to this message. Something inside you has begun to loosen, to soften, to open. You may not feel it fully yet, and that is perfectly fine. Transformation does not always announce itself with fireworks. Sometimes it arrives as a whisper. Sometimes it shows up as a quiet knowing that something fundamental has changed, even if you cannot quite put it into words. Trust that knowing. Trust the process. Trust yourself. Because the truth is, you have already survived the hardest parts. You have already walked through seasons that would have broken someone with less resilience, less heart, less quiet determination. And everything you have been through has prepared you for exactly this moment. This moment of choosing to release. This moment of deciding that the weight no longer serves you. This moment of stepping into a version of your life that is lighter, freer, more spacious, and more deeply joyful than anything you have experienced before. The universe has been waiting for you to arrive at this decision. And now that you are here, the support is going to pour in from directions you never expected. Watch for it. Stay open to it. And above all, keep releasing, because every single thing you let go of makes room for something better. The best of your life is not behind you. It is unfolding right now, in this very breath, in this very choice, in this very moment of beautiful, courageous letting go. You have two options after this video. Close it and hope things shift, or decide that the next 21 days will be different. If you choose the second, the structured 21-day transformation aligned with your sign is waiting in the pinned comment. The energy is already moving, the only question is whether you are.